Okay, good morning Year 12. So the second part of the project, or section 2, is the house plans. Now, how to draw a house plan. What I'm going to do is this. I'm not going to actually draw a house plan because that's actually in your textbook and there are many resources online. But I will show you the most important part before you draw a house plan is how do you decide the scale. So I've written a couple of scales here, 1:10, 1:50, 1:100, 1:200. Now I could have had 1:150, 1:1000, 1:12, 1:3.7, but I just decided on the basic scales that are usually used. And they're good numbers as well, ending in zeros. Okay, so this is the rule. How do we choose? Well, step one, you choose a scale. Let's just say I'm going to go with 1:50. Okay, I could have went with 1:10 or the other two. I'm just going to, as an example, I'm going to go with 1:50. Now, the drawing length or the breadth. So your first step is to measure the house, the length of the house, the breadth of the house, the length of the rooms, breadth of the rooms, the size, the dimensions of your kitchen, dimensions of your sofa, whatever it may be, whatever object. Okay, and convert that length from meters into either millimeters or centimeters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to convert it into millimeters. Actually, I'll convert it into centimeters just to make it a bit easier. Okay, so it's the scale multiplied by the actual length in centimeters in this case. We'll go with centimeters. Okay, now let's just say if I was to measure the length of my house, it's 15 meters and the breadth is 12 meters. So 15 meters by 12 meters. So I can't draw 15 meters on a piece of paper. That's just not possible. Okay, unless I have a piece of paper that's 15 meters in length. So what I'll do is this, using 1:50. So what that means is this, 1 unit on paper is 50 times bigger in real life. Okay, so the length on piece of paper is going to be your scale, which is 1:50 is 1/50, multiplied by the actual length. Well, we're going to go in centimeters. So 15 meters is the same as 1,500 centimeters. Okay, I put that into the calculator. So 1/50 times 1,500. Okay, that gives me 30 centimeters. So using a scale of 1 to 50 means 15 meters in real life is equivalent to 30 centimeters on a piece of paper, the length of the house that I've chosen. Okay, the same thing with the breadth. 1/50 multiplied by 12 meters is 1,200 centimeters. Now I put that into the calculator. Gives me 24 centimeters in breadth. Okay, so when I'm drawing this, I'd go 30 centimeters across. So that's a 30 centimeter ruler. Okay, so if I was to draw this here, just to give you a quick idea, 30 centimeters is about up here. Okay, so I've got 30 centimeters by 24 centimeters is about all the way that extends far out. Okay, now we've got a problem here. You're going to need a piece of paper that's either A3 or even A2 or A1. Okay, however, if I chose a different scale, let's just say I chose 1:200. Now let's do the same calculation. 1:200. Now you're going to see what actually happens. So what I'll do is this, I'll get a texter, 1:200. So if I was to go with 1:200, and we're going to keep the units the same, or the measurements. Length was 15 meters, breadth was 12 meters. Now you can do this, you're going to have to do this with all the objects or locations around the house. If you're going to measure a sofa or a bench top, you measure it and then use the appropriate scale that you choose to find the measurements on a piece of paper. Okay, now, so the length using this scale on a piece of paper is going to be 1/200 times 1,500 centimeters. 1/200 times 1,500, which gives me 7.5 centimeters length. So if I use 1:200, my length is going to be, on a piece of paper, is going to be 7.5 centimeters. So a length of 7.5, which is there. 7.5 centimeters. That's the length of the house. Now that is a pretty small length, given that you've got a big piece of paper. Okay, we'll do the same thing for the breadth. That's going to give us 6 centimeters. That's the breadth using 1:200. Okay, 6 centimeters is about, that's 6 centimeters. Okay, all right. Now, obviously, that is a very small diagram, and it's going to be very, very difficult, or quite impossible to some extent, to fit your sofa, to fit your living room, to fit your media room or your bathrooms in this small space. Okay, that's why the scale is very important. Okay, so you got to choose the appropriate scale. I personally would go for 1:50. I can even do 1:75.